Hello, my name is Amanda Trainer. I'm doing my first weekly observation for ATM 101, Unit 3. My weather station is located on Hannon Road, about northeast of Delta Junction. My dates for my first observation are January 29th through February 3rd, 2018, and I am located in the interior of Alaska. I wanted to post the max history and the min history. First of all, to show everybody that there were a couple days that got so cold that my thermometer was unable to record them, so it just records them as LLL, which means it probably dropped down to at least 40 below, which is typical of this time of year. January and February are supposed to be the coldest months for us. As you can see, it was a very cold week for us. It never reached zero, and it stayed right about -30, -20 for most of the time. The only time it jumps up is when it gets windy out. And so that's why you see it looks like it's getting warmer, but for us here, it does not feel that way because the wind chill can be brutal. And it drops down right here because that night the wind died down. So when the wind dies down, the weather drops. The barometric pressure, I had a hard time with the barometric pressure this time. It's just something that I need to get a handle on, so something that I'm going to work on. But according to my readings, it continued to rise, and for a while it just sort of seemed to level out. Some other observation notes. As far as wind goes, there was virtually no wind for the first part of the week, which is why the temperatures stayed so low. And then right around the 1st, it started to pick up, which I noticed because I always set my paper down on my notebook when I go out onto the porch, and this time the paper blew off. And so I looked up in the trees, and the trees were moving a little bit, but not enough to knock the snow off. That came later. And I measured the Beaufort number to be about 4, and the winds were coming out of the southeast. Sky cover. Delta sky in my area was very, very blue this entire week, even when the wind came. So the reason I chose this picture was this is exactly what our sky looked like. Obviously, this is not a picture of Delta Junction, but the sky was just very, very blue with just some light coloring in the distance. Precipitation. The only snow that we had this week actually started the morning before I started taking my observations. So I started taking my observation on the 29th at 4 p.m. and that morning my car had a little bit of dusting on it, a little bit of snow. But other than that, Delta was precipitationless. There was no snow, there was nothing. The air was very, very dry. Everybody around town was complaining about dry hands, and yeah, very staticky. Just kind of a miserable cold week for us. So next week's supposed to be warmer. Fingers crossed.